On this day 2 years ago, Lagos witnessed one of its darkest days during the EndSARS protests. The protests, which morphed from social media campaigns into street demonstrations in October 2020, was triggered by the excesses of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, a now disbanded police tactical unit notorious for cruelty against crime suspects and innocent Nigerians. We have details in this report.
October 2020 started like every other day. Not many saw what the day eventually turned out to be: massive youth protests. The excesses of the now defunct Special Anti-Robbery Squad caused so much uproar, which made the youths to vent their displeasure. The protest, largely organic, sprung up in several other areas of Lagos, with Lekki and Alausa, Ikeja becoming the focal point for convergence. Other states later joined the fray.
Ask me the legacy that EndSARS will leave, I'd say it's resilience and unity and a new awakening, social political consciousness among young people.
The demand of the youths were clearly spelled out and broken down into several points, which includes the disbandment of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, compensations for the families of those who died under police brutality, the release of arrested protesters, and an increase in the salaries and allowances of police officers.
We are back on the streets. If we do not see SARS completely abolished, we are back on the streets.
Although SARS activities and general issues of police brutality, amongst other issues, were at its core, the EndSARS protest quickly became a platform for demanding government's decisive action against insecurity, corruption, economic woes, and general maladministration.
We want to end SARS. That's what we want. They need to go.
Because of Apple Watch, or because you refuse to unlock your phone, one shot, you're gone and you're dead. Why? We act as if these people dying will come back next month. They're not coming back.
Without a central leadership structure coordinating the protests in different parts of the country, the street demonstrations continued, with the agitators widening their requests.
Our side that we're dodging bullets.
Many remember October 20th, 2020 as a dark period in the history of the nation, where young people were allegedly killed. However, since that protest, police brutality has not left the Nigerian streets. Numerous cases of assault and extortion by the police have been recorded, with the police force dismissing those found wanting.
It's been about a week since the ASU strike has been called off. Now there seems to be a semblance of hope for university lecturers, as the federal government says it has approved 470 billion naira special fund in the 2023 budget for university revitalization and upward adjustment of lecturers' salaries. That is according to the Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed. The minister explained that the sum was specially provided in the 2.05 trillion naira allocated to education. She says out of the 470 billion naira, the sum of 300 billion naira is for university revitalization and 170 billion naira for upward adjustments of the university lecturers' salaries. According to the finance minister, the draft 2023 budget has been prepared on the background of international challenges such as the Russia-Ukraine war and COVID-19 pandemic, adding that revenue generation has been a major challenge to national development in the country. Members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities recently suspended their 8-month strike over the upward review of lecturers' welfare, amongst others. Also, the Minister of Finance presented a comprehensive breakdown of the 20.51 trillion 2023 budget estimates. She says government is looking to carry out a holistic review of the National Youth Service Corps to accommodate Nigerians in the diaspora. Senior correspondent Joke Adisa has details.
On the 7th of this month, President Muhammadu Buhari presented the 2023 appropriation bill to a joint session of the National Assembly. As is the practice, the Minister of Finance, assisted ably by heads of relevant government agencies, formally presents the financial document to the public. She says despite the fears being raised by some Nigerians, the country's debt profile is still within threshold. The minister says revenue generation remains the major fiscal constraint of the Federation.
There will be a link between the NIN number and the tax identification number. So that's another way that we're going to be able to use to track taxpayers' registration as well as tax compliance.
She says 3.3 trillion naira is earmarked for fuel subsidy in the budget for next year, but insists it is no longer sustainable. The ravaging floods in several states of the country is also receiving government's action.
We're going to be looking at measures that need to be taken, first of all, to provide immediate succor to the people that are affected. And yes, we need data for that, but we are also the National Emergency Management Agency, the Ministry of Humanitarian Resources.
A breakdown shows that the education sector has 2.05 trillion naira, representing 10% of the budget. Health gets 1.58 trillion naira, 8% representation of the budget, and security sector hits 2.74 trillion naira, representing 13% of the budget. Some heads of agencies also provided further insights into the budget estimates.
Our goal is to be able to maximize our revenues from oil to support our diversification away from oil.
We are already taking deployment of technology very seriously, and it is impacting positively on whatever we are doing, the business process, the tax filing.
Now that the 2023 appropriation bill has been broken down, the government expects citizens' participation and inclusion in asking necessary questions and preferring ways of further enhancing the nation's economic growth for the good of all. Joke Adisa, TVC News, Abuja.